Hey, good evening to everybody tonight. I hope y'all's weekend is going pretty well. I'm glad y'all could make it so far, and I really got something I want to discuss tonight, and I hope you guys stay with us on this one because it is going to be some kind of conversation coming up. All right, good evening to you, Mr. Athens, and that's Mr. Athens for anybody that wants to know. BFFG, Bigfoot Florida guy, Mr. Richard, my guy right there. You guys go check him out. I already told you 100 times. He runs a wonderful channel. I love Richard to death, and we're gonna have some news coming up probably here in just a little bit. So, hey Joanne, I hope you're doing good. I hope nobody else comes on tonight. Missed you last night. Hey Curtis, how you doing, buddy? Hope everything is well. All right, Mr. Stephen Hicks. Hey, buddy, how you doing? All right. So, guys, let me kind of delve into what we're going to be talking about tonight. Bigfoot Print Or. Okay. If you guys remember last year, we went out and we found this handprint on a styrofoam that's really tough. I mean, you have to bear down just to put a thumbprint just a little bit into the thing, and it's really hard to do. Uh, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you guys are standing up, but you're going to put some weight behind it just to put a little bit of a print, okay? And this handprint, you see it in my intro. It's a piece of styrofoam. It's not a rock. It's kind of reminds you of something that I guess you would say like a what they would shoot arrows into. And hey, Josh, I missed your name there, buddy. I hope you're doing well. By the way, everybody give Josh Ensley congratulations. He just had a beautiful daughter. They are still. She was a preemie, so they are still going back and forth to the hospital and taking care of this young one. But congratulations to you, Josh. I hope everything turns out well, and you know I do. All right. So, anyways, back to this print, the hand print. All right. Um, Old Bear seen it. I've showed it to you. The styrofoam is standing up. Okay, and it's probably I want to say 4 by 4, maybe a 4.5 by 1/2, something like that. That's a pretty tall piece. Anyways, the hang on a minute, I missed a name in here, and it is on our. We are being paired tonight, Mr. Ag Sav. I hope you're doing well tonight, buddy. Then let's see here. Anyways, the wind blew it over. Okay, and when it blew it over, it put the handprint downwards. We seen it. I think it blew down probably around the time we done a camp out last year up there in that area, and had interesting little camp out that night. Uh, well, thank you, Stephen. That's something I wanted to bring up too. We're practicing doing some stuff, some filming, and guys, I hope y'all be patient with me. I'm probably gonna put out stuff that's probably not gonna make sense or whatever. Might have mistakes on it, but we're trying to get better in photography to bring more, hopefully, entertainment to you guys. Richard's gonna be a big help to me. He doesn't know it yet, but I will be calling him pretty soon about some stuff. So. Uh, Y'all be patient with us as far as that on the channel goes. But anyways, we finally, the weather finally participated that we could go out and go to our little spot and just to see what kind of changes have been going on this year. And we have noticed, and I'm going to say the whole deal, we noticed there's not as many arches as there was last year. Now, this place done a lot of cleanup and done some renovations, and it looks good. It really does. It's uh, where we camped out. They got a new awning there, and it just, I mean, you couldn't ask for something better. But it's only allowed for primitive camping. Anyways, I hear you, Joanne. But anyways, so we went out there and we found some of the bigger, older ones were still up. The one that we found in one place where we camped at the time of camping was a tree arch there. We went back after that and it's no longer there. So we figured either they done some cleanup and started ruining some of these things. We don't know. Some of the big ones that they couldn't do anything with. Uh, they're still there. One of them being on one of the videos that Old Bear had premiered on his channel. That was one from last year that Ice Bunny was still questioning about. She wanted to know, and she was helping me do some filming. So, thankful she's participating with us on this one. I'm really happy that she's come aboard with us. That's just tickles me to death. But anyways, so we're over there by this tree arch that she explains to you, and that styrofoam is not too far away. Okay. In this styrofoam is another print. I don't know what it is about this particular styrofoam, or is it in the certain area that it's in? Because they've got like 4 or 5 of these things out there, and I figure they use them for shooting arrows and stuff. But this one has been down ever since last year. So my curiosity, when I looked at it, I happened to glance down, and I seen this other kind of print on the very edge of it, and I don't know what it is. I really, really don't. I'm scratching my head, so I decided to get my go-to guys to tell me what it is or what they think it might be. So that without more hesitation, I'm gonna show you the clips, and I want to get your guys' opinion on it, and y'all tell me what you think it is. All right. This is clip number one. It is a regular camera that you would use on your phone, and then I have another one that's got a little bit darker, to kind of give you another look, little perspective on it. It's not as long, but that way you kind of get some different views on it. Okay. Clip number one. Here we go. Okay. That was print number one. It's the same print that I'm going to show you in this other one. Like I said, it's going to give you just a little bit different of perspective. Okay, here we go. All right, those are the two videos that I got. What do you guys think that is? If you'll notice it is very deep, and I explained earlier how hard it is just to make a dip in this thing. Uh, I don't know. I mean, it's right there on the edge. If you could imagine that it was standing up, the print would be down at the bottom. Okay. When it fell over, there was no print down at the bottom. Trust me, guys, I've watched this thing for well over half a year. Just about to tell you any kind of new scar that it's got on it. And this was the first time we got to go out this year, and there it is. I don't know what it made it. So, like I said, I've asked some guys to come on and help me out figure it out. And guys, I'm looking at you, the chat room. What do you think it is? I really don't know. I'm not a expert when it comes to prints like this. So, without further ado, my first guess, what was the print on? It is a styrofoam. It's kind of like the styrofoam you shoot arrows into, but only it's really, really thick. It's heavy. Like I said, to push in the styrofoam, and it, I tried it. You really have to really push. For me to push my thumb in it, with pretty good pressure. I mean, I'm not just standing up on top of it, trying to really put it in there. Uh, but to really push it in any at all, and I'm talking about just a little indentation. I mean, just hopefully to put a circle on it, I had to put a lot of pressure on it. But to actually, if you look at that print, I give you kind of almost an eye level shot of that. If you count over to the third mark on it, you can see that the styrofoam is pushed down and pulled back just a little, but it's still there. The other ones, it's not. No, I did not measure it, didn't have one. That's why I put my hand down. My hand is about, I want to say, 4.5 to 5 inches across at my knuckles. And if you look at the print that I'm beside, it would take probably 2.5. That's just to get across them first three. What that fourth one is, I really don't know, guys. I really don't. Is it the really tight type of foam? Yes, it is. Let's put it this way: I wouldn't want to hit it. You know what I mean? Not with barehanded. I'll tell you what. One of my guests will tell you that I'm not kidding. It's a tough piece of foam, of styrofoam. So let me get these guys on, and you'll kind of get an idea. Do you think it could have tried to grab instead? I don't know, Eric. I don't know. I think, and just my opinion, and from where it's at, whatever it was, okay, was coming through and might have accidentally stepped on it. That's what I'm thinking. Uh, I could be completely wrong. I really don't know, but you know what I'm saying? It just the way the foot caught or whatever it is, if it's handprint or footprint, I don't know. Could it thumbprint in the hands? I don't know. Now I couldn't, and I'm serious. I'm not that weak. I'm old, but I'm not that weak. I could still, do some damage if I needed to, as far as pressure goes. And uh, I let's put it this way. I'm serious. I have a hard time. You might as well be pushing on this hard board right here that my computer's sitting on. That's how strong it is. I ain't saying that you can't. I ain't saying that you can't, but man, you really got to put some stuff. You don't see the styrofoam around every day. Let's put it that way. All right. So let's get to my guests and let's get them and get their opinions on here and see what they think. So let me do this right here. So let's bring on our first guest. Mr. Thomas, how are you doing tonight, bud?
All right, Icebox. How about you?
I'm doing just fine. I'll tell you what, it's been actually been a pretty good week. We got all this video stuff and stuff we've been doing here lately, just having some fun with Ice Buddy and stuff like that. And it's been a good week. We finally got a chance to get out and have a good time. You know what I'm saying? And it was great. And today's been a nice day, so we're doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay too.
Give us an update on your surgery that you just had and how you're feeling, if you don't mind.
I'm doing I'm recovering a lot better than I was, and it's been slow, but I'm getting there, and I'll be ready for August.
Yeah, yeah, we missed you in April. We really wanted to see you, but we understood. Um, but we was ever so hoping. You know what I mean? We was ever
Right.
so hoping that you could have made it. Uh, Thomas, before I bring our next guest on here, what do you think of this print? Is it a print at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh, from looking from looking at it in the spacing, it looks like canine claw marks
Hmm.
where it's stepped. There is definitely a heel there. And if I were to guess, and I do know in your region, I know a couple state parks that are not far from you in
Hmm.
Indiana that have had a lot of dogman reports out of there quite recently, actually. And to me, that's what it looks like. I'm not going to say 100% because I wasn't there to actually physically look at it, But from my perspective and what I was looking at and the spacing, that's what it looks like.
Now, dogman is kind of one of your. I mean, you're into Bigfoot.
Yes.
I know, and you've been in it for years and years and years. But your little side thing has been studying on dogman, is it not?
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you ever seen a print like this?
Yes.
Where at?
Uh, one in Morgan Monroe State Forest, and also down at LBL.
Did it look like this kind of a print?
Uh,
Remember?
close.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I've got.
I don't
I hope it
know.
ain't.
Oh, close, but from what I'm not going to swear 100% because I wasn't there to actually see it, but from the video and the spacing and the depth and into the styrofoam, it was a good size one.
Okay. What kind of markings or shape or is it the depth that kind of lead you to think that it might be a dog man?
It looked at the depth of because the claws are like the triangulated of a canine, and from where the appendages, the depth of the appendages into that type of styrofoam, it had some weight in it on it.
Yeah, I figured it had to have some weight. It had to, because that's why I keep pressing so hard about how much pressure it takes just to leave a mark in the thing. Yeah, Steven likes the gremlin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to kind of move Gizmo a little bit closer there so everyone could see him.
Yeah, I like it. I really do. I like it. All right. Yeah, I kind of looked at it myself, the triangle of the print that starts,
Right.
and going back while watching this video, I've seen it, several times. Going back watching it on the rewind here, it I'm curious about something else, but before we get into what I might throw in there, let's go ahead and bring in our other guest. You want to see what he thinks? All right, I'm getting used to this, guys. Y'all hang on. Yeah, I like that.
Got his candy bar.
You caught me.
Got it. Caught it with a candy bar.
Caught you.
Hey, as long as my doctor don't see, I don't care.
Hey, you were supposed to have that thing ate up by the time we got to you. We drug around as long as we could.
She got me too.
Yeah. All right. Eric, don't let me forget that question. That's a really fine question, but I'm gonna get if folks that don't know, and I'm sure everybody here does know, this is Old Bear from Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot. So I'm glad to have him back on again. We had a great time on his channel last night. Me and my wife Ice Bunny, we just out there clowning and having fun. So you could meet my wife and what we're planning on doing, and she's really, I think she's doing a good job. And if you guys think she is, go back and watch the video and leave comments and stuff and build her up, because you know how that is. Your first time, you're not as confident as you think you should be, but she's done a great job. And thank you, Bear, for having us on.
Hey, that was purely my pleasure. I was kind of hoping I'd have just Ice Bunny, but I had to deal with Icebox too. But we muddled our way through it.
Oh, it's Al, my man Al. All right, I didn't know it was you, Al. I apologize, buddy. Now I know who you really are. Hey, Kim, how you doing, sweetheart? And I think Sunshine come in there late. Hey, Sunshine, how you doing, sweetie? All right, Bear. You've watched the video. I've sent it to you, and you've heard Thomas, and you've heard me. What do you think this is?
Well, based upon looking at the video and The one that has the ledge on it, where it looks like there is a type of maybe some dermal ridge in that styrofoam. Now I know the type of styrofoam because I've seen this, and it's the condensed styrofoam, the type that they do use in bow targets. They'll stop an arrow, 6-inch penetration of an arrow, and that's it. That's from a 70, 80, 100-pound bow. And I've shot all of them through all those styrofoam, and it stops them dead. But what I saw on it was what looked to be like possible part of a fingerprint. It didn't have the real definition of the dermal ridges, but it had more of a where the finger would lay down. And the thing that struck me the most was the depth of the claws. What appears to be claws. The depth is not enough for a dogman. If it had been a hand from a dogman, from what I know of them, I only saw 3, but their claws are not like a cat's, like this thing behind me. They don't retract. Their claws stay out all the time on their hands and on their feet, and they don't lose size. So the depth of the claw, where it looks like where it comes down across, it could be because it flaked, because the cement that's on the outside of that styrofoam to make it look like a rock. And that's what I'm basing it upon. Is it looks like it could have been a Bigfoot come up there with its right hand, and while it was laying on the ground, it went to pick it up and got distracted or something. And whenever it started to dig its hand down, it caught the corners of that cement that's on the outside of it, and it chipped off, and it looked like a claws. And there are Bigfoot. Now, there are Bigfoot that do allow their fingernails to grow longer, and they're all over the U.S. They don't have fingernail clippers like we do. And typically, if it was a male, a younger male, his fingernails are not going to be worn down very much, and he could have, done something to manipulate his fingernails, which could have made the claw indentations. What looked like claws.
Let me ask you this. I've been told, I've never seen it, and it's not just you or Thomas and many other of my friends on here. Speaking of, hey, Flat Rock Bud, glad you made it this time instead of the end of the show.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, something popped up. Yeah, and I have heard that they will get on all fours. Okay. Is there a possibility that, and I'm asking you specifically, Bear, do you think that there's a possibility that it might have been on all fours and just accidentally got a hold of it and left its mark with it, maybe its hand?
With it being laid down like that, it kind of leads to the thing of it come up just to mess with it. And it got down low and probably was trying to look and see if it could find earthworms or grubs or find an ant nest or something like that underneath of it. And whenever it reached down and grabbed a hold of it and then pushed it, knocked it over or whatever, and was looking for, some type of food that could have been underneath there. Like I said, night crows, they eat them. I mean, we can eat them. Personally, I wouldn't want to, but that's just not my plan. Crickets, ants, all that stuff we can eat. They can eat. I mean, it does. That's a natural food for them. It could have smelt an ant's nest underneath there, and just come up and grabbed a hold of it. Bent down on all four, bent down, and just grabbed a hold of the edge of it and leaned that up like that. But it's there's so many possibilities as to what it really can be. I mean, we're not there. We don't know for sure. We're speculating, and a lot of times we do have to do that in the Bigfoot world or the cryptid world. For every cryptid that's out there, somebody is doing some kind of research on them. So when it comes to Bigfoot doing this, it can be a Bigfoot. We established that there was a very highly likely a possibility of a clan living there all the time when we came up last year, and there could be Thomas could be right too. There could be dog men that pass through that area.
Well, that's the part that worries me.
I don't know why they ain't gonna bother you as long as you don't interfere with their their doings. I mean, they don't. Typically, they don't mess with humans. The ones that do mess with humans, just shoot them and leave them lay and go on.
Yeah, they usually just sit there and terrorize you until you pee on yourself, and then they'll leave.
Yeah. Well, they don't. I hate to say this, Thomas, but they don't have to terrorize me to make me want to go wet down my leg. Just seeing them is puts you right on the verge. I'm not afraid of them, but they are a terrorizing. They put terror in your system. Your adrenaline kicks 10 times over, and blood pressure raises, and you're like, I really don't want to mess with these things.
Exactly.
Just walk away.
Take time to go.
All right, Thomas. How deep do you think that was? Those marks.
I say whatever it was heavy. Maybe 300-400 pounds, possibly more.
What was it? Bear the thickness of that foam? Was it probably about? I want to say about 7-8 inches. Does that
The
sound about right?
thickness of that foam? No, that was a 4x4 block. That's why I couldn't pick it up.
No, it's thicker than 4 inches.
I wasn't talking about 4 inches. I was talking about 4 foot.
Oh, 4 foot. No, I'm talking about the thickness from outside wall to outside wall. It's about what, 7-8 inches.
Yeah, I thought it was thicker than that, at least 12 to 14.
I don't know if it's 12 or 14, but it is. It's pretty thick, and that's the reason I'm asking for it because you've seen it. You tried to put your fingerprint in that stuff, and I'm sure
it didn't work.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get at. For this to go, why didn't it leave a heavier imprint? I think it caught it by the edge, Eric. I really do. And I'm listening to both of these gentlemen here. Now this is just my opinion, my impression. Okay, where it's at, it's a very dark place. It's also very close to where I suspect that the clan would go and sleep. Okay, is one of their main hideouts. Where we're at, and I feel like Bear's right on this, is that whole top there is their hunting ground up to a certain point. And last year it was littered everywhere with tree bows everywhere. This year's it's not so much. And in talking to Thomas, he said something that kind of struck me kind of odd. He said something about if a dog man was to come in the area, your Bigfoot activity went down. Am I correct, Thomas?
Usually, a lot of times they'll overlap in the same areas.
Where they hang out?
Generally, they don't mess with each other. They keep their distance from each other, but they do. But in hunting grounds and territory, it does overlap in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
Okay. I find it odd that it's kind of close to what I would consider, okay, where they go to lay down at, because that's the same spot there that me and you and the Mrs. both of them went
Mm-hmm.
to when we jumped up that deer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's where you know where the styrofoam is. So I'm just kind of curious, will they hang out together? And I'm not saying hand in hand and hunt together and stuff like that. But if a dog man was to come in that area, does the Bigfoot back off? Do they kind of move out for a little while and let the dog man do his thing, then move on? And
I think one
oh,
was just probably passing through, like Bill Bear said. That's
you
just
think so?
my opinion. I think they know a
Yeah.
clan. There's a clan that regularly stays there. They're not going to move into an area where there's a regular Bigfoot clan
And
because
yeah, go ahead.
Big,
they wouldn't even try it.
yeah.
Okay.
They won't. The Bigfoot that are there, there's an alpha male, and then there's an alpha female, and they got young. Um, from what I've learned about dog men over the years, which ain't a whole lot. I would rather play with something that stands up most of the time and is big and hairy and ugly
Yeah.
because it reminds me of myself. But it's a lot easier and simpler to deal with those creatures than it is something that comes from a Bela Lugosi movie. Werewolves and dogmen. They've been around for thousands of years, and so is Bigfoot. But to me, Bigfoot is more. It has more human aspects to it, and it
Hmm.
thinks more like a human than what a dogman does. The dogmen seem to be very territorial. If they were staying there, they would have been fighting the Bigfoot. It had been war. But the Bigfoot will let them go through, and as long as they don't stay, then the males won't have a problem with it, as far as I know. One passing through and come over and knock that thing over, or it be laying there and it step its claw up, its rear hind leg up on there. They're not going to throw a fit. They're just going to let you pass on through, but they'll be watching him. And
Hmm.
if he tries to stay, Mr. Alpha's coming over and paying a visit. And
Okay.
they've been known to fight. And
Oh yeah.
if it's not nothing that matches him, that dog man's probably going to be dead somewhere.
Uh, Let me answer Eric's question. And Bear Mike can help us on this one too, Eric. Do you think there might be a very big den in that area that's hidden? There's
I
not what
don't
I call caves. No.
know. I don't think that they've dug anything out to make a den because they do dig into the sides of hills and make dens and stuff like that. And I've known that personally. I've known that for quite a long time that they do dig inside of a hill. I don't think I don't think that if there was a dog man in the area, he's passing through and he's probably been chased out because dog men typically, and Thomas can confer this or not, but their times are like right before daylight for 2 or 3 hours and then right before dark.
You know,
And then the rest of the time they stay out of the Bigfoot's time.
correct.
Um, they don't move around at night if there's Bigfoot around because then the Bigfoot run into them and it's a fight. So they kind of they understand each other's times, and the dog men will move around somewhat in the day. Bigfoot will move in the day, but it takes certain parameters for a Bigfoot to get up during the day.
Mhm. Yeah. Everybody's asking. And by the way, hey, Michael, that's Kirsch. That's a buddy of uh, mine and Bears and Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, good. Always good to see you, Michael. Just as how. All right. So everybody's asking, do they tolerate one another? from my understanding, I would say
Um,
no.
I want to bring back real quick what Old Bear say. Dog Man, a lot of your sightings are during the daytime, believe
Yeah.
it or not. And that coincides with what Old Bear is saying. And yes, do they tolerate each other? It depends on the clans.
Hmm.
It's very dependent. There have been cases where they have been known to work together for mutual benefit, but that is extremely rare. But generally, if a dog band is in a Bigfoot's territory, they will be politely, more or less, asked to leave.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And if they don't leave, and then they get their neck broke.
Hmm. All right. Yeah. Pick your nose or picky your nose. I don't know who you are, but hey, glad to see you. Let me throw something else at you guys. Okay. When we were there and we were walking up, I started hearing whistles. Okay. Uh, and to me, it's happened more than once, you know. But this time I've got my wife with me, of course, and we get over and I get to messing around, that type stuff. And we start hitting it. And I start trying to copy what it was doing. I can't remember exactly how it was going, but it was a different cadence than what I was doing. And next thing I know, it quit. And I done it again just to mess around and see what would happen. And it answered or something whistled it back. And my wife, I got to talking to her a little bit, didn't say nothing to her. She goes, "Did that thing answer you?" I said, "It could have." I said, "I don't know for sure." You know how that goes. You don't know
Mhm.
without seeing. I mean, we're all under speculation until we see something do something before we can make a solid claim. But I said, yeah, it did do something after I'd done the whistle. And she said, "What do you think it is?" I said, "Well, listen." I said, "For all we know, it could be a bird because I'm from the South. There are some different birds up here in this area. So I don't know if it was a bird uh, or it could have been, and this is kind of stretched out for me. It could have been a tree rubbing against another tree, you know, who knows? But I really doubt that. I'm just wondering if it ain't another bird or if it's something that these creatures or critters would do. But regardless, I was going to throw that in there so you kind of get an idea about the lack of tree bows that we've seen this year. But the whistles are still going on, or seem like. My curiosity or devil's advocate at this point, do you think this print could have been made by a regular old black bear or something like that?
No,
No? Why not?
Mm-mm.
I'll let you explain it, Old Bear.
Okay. Black bear's got 4 toes up, or yeah, 5 toes up front, 4 in the back.
Mhm.
The size of black bear that would have been a new world record black bear.
It's pretty good size print.
That bear would have had to been probably 8, 9 foot tall, weighing close to 1,000 pounds. Now the state record here in West Virginia for a black bear is 585 pounds, 7.7 foot 2 inches.
Mm.
That's a big bear.
Yep.
Hmm.
It took 8 of us to get that bear out of the woods. Um, a bear that size does not have the area in the whole state of Indiana to feed itself. It's got all kinds of corn, soybean, and all that stuff, but a bear eats meat too.
Hmm.
It would decimate a population of whitetails in no time. Uh, People say black bears don't chase deer. I've seen it way too many times in over 30, well, First time I bear hunted was when I was 17 years old. I'll be 57 in August. So 40 years of black bear hunting. I've seen them chase deer. I've seen them chase other bears. I mean, they can chase down a bear, a cub, and kill it. A big male, something that weighs 200, 300, 400 pounds. They'll chase a cub down and kill him. That would not be a black bear. There was 5 different toes. Their foot would not spread like that. Their paws are kind of, the way their bones and their muscle structure in their paws is the front paw or the rear paw. It is close knit like this. There's very little separation in them. That was spread out like a human hand.
It was.
So it would have to be something that can, use claws or the way the hand was, as a hand, not like a bear. A bear has, plus the claws would have been for the size of bear to make that depth of a claw of a print. The claws would have been 4 or 5 inches long.
Mm-hmm.
Front paws, rear paws, it don't matter. They're all the same. And a bear doing something like that, it would have been slung all over the place because they'd probably been trying to eat styrofoam.
Mm-hmm.
You would have seen bite marks on the bottom of the styrofoam from a bear eating it, because that stuff smells like an anthill.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't have been a bear, not even a grizzly, and y'all ain't got no grizzly.
I don't think so. I didn't think so. And there's your answer to your question. Are there any types of besides black? Yeah, there's grizzly, but not in this area. I would be shocked if they said that there's black bear in this area. I don't see that around here.
There's black bear in Indiana, but
Not here.
they're in southern Indiana, down there near the National Forest off I-64. There's been reports of bear in the National Forest, Morgan Monroe.
Yep.
It's bears travel. I mean, you think about it. A black bear can travel 20 to 30 miles a night.
Well,
their home range is 50 to 60 square miles for a boar. For a female, it's a little bit less. It's about 40.
I would say, though, we're at the verge of what I call woods. Okay, where we're going to right now is kind of like a corridor. Okay, it's about the most. Well, the further you go down south, the more you're going to get into possibilities. But it's kind of like Ohio, West Ohio. It's flat. I mean, there is no mountains around here for quite a while.
Bear don't need mountains. Icebox.
Well, yeah, but the woods are too patchy. I don't think a bear's going to be sustain stuff here.
You got to remember, Icebox. If a Bigfoot can live there, another predator can live there. Bears, whatever, biggers, anything. You got to remember, bears are omnivores. They eat anything and everything. They eat baby diapers. So it doesn't matter to a bear. If it's food, it could be dog food, cat food, corn, soybeans. As long as they get enough food to fill their bellies every day, a bear will live there in the area. They'll find somewhere to hide from you.
Well, the reason I bring this up as a devil's advocate, if you look in the video, and that's why I'm talking to both of you guys, you see a triangle cut at the end of the claws. Okay,
right,
which would lead you to think, okay, this is something that's clawed, because I have not seen myself personally. Okay, and I've got several pictures of footprints that a lot of my people, or when I say my people, my friends and people I've had on the show have sent me, none of them have these particular types of marks. Okay, they're usually more rounded, or I've even some that look squared in the toes. I'm not so sure that's not fake or not, but hey, I don't know. But I've never seen any of the Bigfoot prints be sharp pointed at the end. Okay, it's usually more rounded. Even the one that I've seen personally was rounded. So I'm trying to get it in my head, and I agree with you, Bear. No, they don't run around with a bunch of dadgum nail clippers. I know
Mhm.
that. But it's not something that you see every day in a Bigfoot
Well,
footprint.
no, what it is. Some Bigfoot clans that are in Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, they have been known to have, and they take rocks. The females will take rocks. They'll let the males will grow their fingernails about an inch out past their finger,
Hmm.
and they file them down. It's a rite of passage for that clan. And investigators that I know up in Wisconsin, there is one place up around oh, what's the name of that dang town? I go and deliver there. Up around Delavan, Wisconsin. I know an investigator that lives just 10 miles from Delavan. And he has mentioned he has gotten handprints with what looks like, a dog's claw
Really?
because of the way they shape their fingernails. It's a rite of passage thing. And that's
Hmm.
what he's come up with, because he's gotten handprints from young ones. They don't have their fingernails done that way. Now, the bigger males, their fingers are done that way, but the females don't do it. And he's gotten handprints. He watched the female grab a hold of the side of a creek crossing to grab onto the ground and left the handprint in the mud because she slipped and watched her go right up the hill. And he went over and took and casted the handprint. He sent me pictures of it, and her fingernails are not done that way. You would think a female would have something to do with her fingernails. You know,
Hmm.
it's
Right.
We're
I
thinking
guess
human
because I'm
now.
so used to women.
Yeah.
The human species does it all the time. Women do it all the time, but it's evidently it's a rite of passage for the adult males, and they do it. I don't know if they feel that it's something that helps them out when they get in fights with other clans, or if it's just you know makes them look more studly to the females. I don't know because he doesn't know, so I can't say. It's just it's but he sent me handprints with what looks like claws.
Okay. All right, Thomas. That, does this still seem like it's convincing to you that it might be a dog man?
Well, you got to understand, like a dog man's hands. Okay,
Hmm.
their hands are more like a raccoon's, but their claws, they're not retractable. Okay. Now I have seen dog man prints. They're when they're upright, where the size of a dinner plate. They can get huge. As like I said, I was not there. Uh, I've seen the video. I'm just telling you what I think it may be, but I wouldn't say 100%. I would actually have to be there to actually look at it before I could even make a 100% determination.
Hmm. Well, the reason I brought up the bear and um, I'm basically exploring any possibilities of this print that could conclude one way or the other. I first sent it to Bear because he knew I was worried when I seen this. I didn't get scared. We finished out our day because this could be an older print sometime during the winter, for all we know. Uh, but seeing it caused me to have a little concern, and it has Ice Bunny too. You know, so when I brought up the bear part of it, I would think that a bear, of course, old Bear would know, and maybe Thomas, you might would know better than I would. Um, Inside that print, yeah, it's triangular at the beginning of the depth. And about the third toe, you can see where part of it stopped and it left some of that. I call it painted concrete, whatever you want to call it, but it does actually stop, and you can see it laying in there about an inch deep. Okay, and then there's a fourth one that's kind of spread out. I don't know what that's about, to be honest with you, because if you go by that, it's more than 2.5 fist size larger than mine. You know what I mean? You've seen it, Tom, old Bear. But inside, especially on that last video, you see the shadows of what could be a, I want to say a fingernail print. Okay.
Mhm.
And it could be from something like a bear or whatever else. And that's the reason, matter of fact, can I show it to you one more time and you see what I'm talking about? If you look, especially in the first one on the left, you'll see like a gutter mark or kind of like more of a fingernail cut in there. And see if I'm wrong about this, okay? It's just 19 seconds long. Do you see it? Do you see it, Bear?
Mhm.
You see where I'm asking this kind of question?
Mhm.
Thomas, what do you think?
I find it very interesting.
Oh, I do too. I do
But
too.
I do want to bring another issue up is people have to understand not everything's Bigfoot. There's a lot of other cryptids out there. Uh, devil monkeys have been spotted in Indiana.
Mhm.
I know personally of a case in Frankfort, Indiana, where a devil monkey got a hold of somebody's horse on the,
Mhm.
on the bottom side of it. And I saw the photos of it. It was pretty gnarly. You even have those up here, and something you do not want to run into.
Mhm.
But when you're out there, Icebox, you got to understand there's stuff out there we just don't know, and as you could just have to expect the unexpected. Be ready for it.
I agree, but I only know what I know, and the reason I say that in that kind of cliche saying is because I've seen a Bigfoot. I've never seen a dog man, and I've
Mhm.
never doubt you two guys, but I've never seen one. So to me, it's kind of till I see one. I'm kind of like people that don't believe Bigfoot. You know, if I ain't seen one knocked on my door selling cookies, then I'm not going to believe in it. That's just the way some folks are. But I feel like it's better to be safe than sorry. And if
Exactly.
you're not
Right.
educated enough, and you do run across something like this, you better have a little education. From somebody that does know something. Now, the people are asking, do you think it's a handprint or do you think it's footprint?
I'm not sure.
I would have to go with the hand because of the spread of the print.
Yeah,
Would you?
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah. Hmm.
because you got to look at the design of a foot. A foot is not it looks like there's over an inch between each individual digit that's on there. So if it's that far, it's not going to be a foot. All you got to do is look at your own foot. See if can you spread your toes an inch apart.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
So
No.
and the length of your toes, even on a Bigfoot. You know, on a Bigfoot, its big toe is basically designed the way ours is. They're about 1.5 times to 2 times the size of our big toe. Their big toe. So where would the big toe print? Where would the big toe be on that? It doesn't. It doesn't show. You know, even if a Bigfoot stuck its toes down and did that, it's close. It's not spread out like a hand. And so I would have to say that it looks more like something either from a hand or from a dog man or something like that that has hands. You know, and you're right. There are other cryptids out there that have hands. There's the rake, Wendigo.
Oh no,
Has a
we're not
hand.
good. No, no.
Well,
I'll
I
be,
understand
I'll be, I'll
what
be
you're
a two
saying,
pistol pulling with a shotgun over my back, daggum machete
but
hanging down my leg.
Icebox, why do you think I carry one?
yeah. But I'm just saying,
No,
there is so many different cryptids around. You don't know if somebody did something or if it was just a creature passing through,
yeah,
or if it was a Bigfoot, that was out there. That it's a big from a different Bigfoot clan that was coming out there because clans coincide with each other. They're just like us. They're a social type of creature, and they messed around with other clans. It could have been another male coming over courting the new 17-year-old girl daughter from a completely different clan from Michigan, or Wisconsin or Minnesota, somewhere around, because they have traveled great distances to meet females.
well, as long as it's not a bear squatch, and no, Carmelo, we don't. No werewolves. No, 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 no. No, I'm not going to tolerate werewolves. I will tell you that right now. All right, all right. Here's something that I pay. It seems like every time I watch this video, I'm picking up something here or there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
in that print, the first three, well, let's say is their fingers. Okay, if you look, you'll see one about the center of it, right there, especially at the end. You'll see a line that goes this way, and this way. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
almost like a trifork, whatever, which kind of leans toward more of and I hate to say it this way because I don't want this to be uh, something like a dog man would leave a print. I don't know. I'm just saying, just because the triple angle, because like you said, they are spread apart. Okay, there is that fourth finger, or there is a fourth print there, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what that's about. But the first three are like this, so I'm kind of curious. I hope Thomas is wrong. Lord, do I hope that he's wrong. You because both of y'all, and everybody in the chat room knows. No, I'd rather go out there and wrestle with a Bigfoot than mess around with a dog man or make my wife mad. Either one. Give me Bigfoot anytime. Good grief. So, but I've got to look at it. I have to look at it from both sides because my wife does go with me, and they are uh, Girl Scouts and property next door and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I have to look at that kind of stuff. So it just makes me really, really curious. Who Thomas said he's seen these type of prints before, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking for every little detail that I can figure out. Now, my real question is, what does the chat room think it is? What do you? I mean, what would you go out with now, knowing with uh, Bear saying it's a Bigfoot, uh, which he's got every reasoning behind it. Thomas is saying it could be, and he's not going to put the stamp of approval of 100% that it could be a dog man or some other cryptid that I do not want up here. Which one do you think it is? I know the chat room ain't gonna decide, but I'm kind of curious to what they think this is, or could it be some person that has done this? What do you think? That's what I want to know from the chat room. All right, guys, I'm fixing to get out of here. Is there anything else you want to put in there, input wise, Thomas? As what you want to stick with, or what else it could be?
Well, I just want to make a comment to Eric there. Yes, dogmen have been known to kill people.
I don't think so.
I know so.
We're gonna have to do a show of dogmen. You know that.
And Bear also knows.
Yeah. Yeah, I've talked to way too many Native Americans out in Arizona and New Mexico, going out there to them power plants and them talking about Bigfoot that, or not Bigfoot, but dogmen that come in and have killed, children, women, broken into homes. Yeah, I've heard a bunch of reports from Native American tribes that they're out in the Midwest, not the Midwest, but the Southwest. And it seems like it's pretty prevalent out in that area, Southern California.
You look at land between the lakes in Kentucky. Also,
Yeah.
There has been a lot of mysterious disappearances, and of course, if you look back in 1982, the family that was killed near the Mumbers Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that brings up something, Thomas. The weekend of Labor Day, they are having a Bigfoot camp out down there. And I'm trying to talk Icebox and Ice Bunny into going, but I keep getting a no from Icebox.
Okay.
You want to go?
I'm down. I'm down for it.
Come on, Icebox. Come on.
I think something wrong with your microphone. What did you say?
Real funny. What are you afraid of? It's just a set of woods between two lakes.
You need to pay your internet bill. What did you say?
My internet bill, thank you, is paid up till December.
We'll discuss it. Let's put it that way. We will discuss it. I actually was thinking your idea of going to see Thomas that weekend would be better. Yep. Oh, Lordy. We'll talk about it.
Don't worry, we'll protect you, Icebox.
I ain't worried about that. I may be old, but I still think I can outrun both of y'all.
We'll make sure we'll bring the dog treats.
Mm-hmm. I got some Scooby-Doo snacks.
We'll just put them all around his belt and let him walk out in the woods.
We'll just hang them over Curtis's tent.
That's not like the old joke. I was so ugly when I was little that he had to tie a pork chop around my waist so the dogs would play with me. That's not happening. No. All right, Bear, you got any other input on this before we get out of here?
Well, not being there, not taking measurements of it and everything, it looks more like a Bigfoot would do it because, they can spread their hands pretty wide, evidenced by the print that we saw in the side of it.
Mm-hmm.
It could be just a passing through Bigfoot that was trying to court one of the females in that clan that's there. And it came from a long distance away, and they do stuff with their nails. There's so many possibilities. Plus, you have to take into effect there's people that go out there. Yeah. Kids will go out there and mess with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, without getting in depth, taking a micrometer and, mapping the whole print and everything. It's really hard to say for 100%. I'm 70% sure it's a Bigfoot. That's all I can say.
You gonna cause me go out there, get that styrofoam, drag it out of the woods, and bring it home, just so nobody will mess with it. And that's not happening. That thing's pretty heavy. I'm not gonna fool with it.
Yeah, I know.
Not gonna fool with it. All right, guys. Well, I thought that was very interesting, and I love both of y'all, but I'm still no more convinced one way or the other. Just to be honest with you.
Well, we're not convinced, so you have to think about that too, Icebox. But I'm
Yeah.
saying 70%. Thomas is probably somewhere in that neighborhood on it being a dog man. So,
Mhm.
I'm kind of split 50-50.
Are you?
Yeah.
But
Because
you're
like I
just saying,
said, I'd actually have to be there to actually look at it before
Mhm.
I could make a determination.
and what I was getting at earlier was that the depth of it, it looks like it just caught the edge of it and kind of slipped or something, or dug in and it go all the way. But the depth of it was probably, I would say 4, maybe 5 inches as far as total entry to exit, that's what I was getting at there. So that was something very, very powerful. Let's put it this way. And I'm like
Mhm.
y'all, it could have been kids. No, I don't think it could have been the kids that left this kind of a mark. I don't care if you've got to give them a hammer. I don't think they're going to do it this way, or even some kind of axe or whatever. I don't think kids or even adults would think to do this, and especially when they're kind of concaving off like this right here, like it's a scraping, and yet the third one there is a stop there, and then it pulls back. You could tell it. But anyways, all I'm gonna say, if you want to see it personally, get your rear ends over here. That's all I'm gonna tell you. All right. So, all right, well, Bear, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Thomas, I hope you had a good time.
Yes, I
Very
did.
good job on the computer. I'm glad to have you back and get you on here again. We're gonna have to get some Dogman stuff going on here pretty soon. So I do appreciate you coming on tonight. Fellas, anything else before I get us out here?
And,
Uh,
well,
all
thanks for
right.
having us on.
No, 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 no. I
Thank
thank
you.
y'all for, yep, thank y'all for letting us on or coming on here to be with me. Wait a minute, hold up. Would you like to hear a husband wife joke?
I don't want to die. Let me get
Either.
earplugs.
Would you like to hear a
Go
joke
ahead.
of the night? All right. You
Not
better
dirty.
type quickly. You better type quickly. You better type quickly. Has anyone ever heard of a fox type dog man?
I have
Huh?
down in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Really?
Down in Mississippi.
I'm gonna quit hanging out with you guys. Yeah, I don't want nothing to do with none of these
Mississippi,
dog men.
Lower Louisiana.
Yep.
Mm-mm. Okay. I just got another one when your wife says, "Honey, why don't you do the dishes?" You pause shortly, tilt your head, straighten up. Haven't you heard it's illegal for a man to oh no, no, no.
To compete in women's sports.
No, no, no. My wife, all she got to do is say, honey, wash them dishes. I'll be washing dishes. That's all you ladies need to know.
She's got him
All
trained.
right. That's right. I didn't live this long by being stupid. All right. Okay. All right. We're going to get out of here. Guys, I do appreciate it again. Thank y'all in the chat room. I hope y'all appreciate what we're trying to do here lately, and I hope y'all enjoy it. But y'all come back and see us. We'll probably try to come back on here in about another week or two. Till then, y'all be careful out there in the woods, but get out there and have a good time. We'll see y'all later. Y'all take care.